CE week going on. Andrea Smith's here, and wow, you've been busy, Andrea.
Busy day, very busy week.
Lots of cool stuff to talk about on the show today. So let's go ahead and get right to it, shall we? Here we go.
Live via alphageekradio.com. The Daily Tech News Show is made possible by patrons like you at patreon.com/acedetect. Thank you. For information on how to contribute, go to bit.ly/helpdtns. You're on the Frog Pants Studios Network. Audio so good, it's like you're there.
This is the Daily Tech News for Wednesday, June 25th, 2014. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me live at CE Week in New York, Andrea Smith, who's been running around making the television happen there. How's it going, Andrea?
It's going good, Tom. How you doing?
Good. If folks are hearing a little more background noise than usual, she's in a busy place there. But we got lots of good stuff to talk about from CE Week. Some fashion show stuff, some wearable computing, some 3D printers. Let's start with the headlines and a replay of Google I/O. Andrea didn't get to watch Google I/O, so I'm gonna redo not all 2.5 hours, Andrea.
Oh, good. Just give me the highlights.
But a much more condensed version of it. Google vomited announcements all over the place at its I/O keynote this morning. Here are the highlights. The next version of Android was not named. It was only referred to as Android L. It will get a new design language, as will Google's Chrome OS and web apps. The new look is called Material Design. It's very card-based with bright colors and realistic transitions. So it looks a little flat, like you'd expect, Andrew.
Okay.
A new way to log into a phone will include determining if it is in a trusted environment, looking for a friendly device like a smartwatch or trusted Wi-Fi network, thus bypassing the need to enter a PIN or one of the patterns or something like that. That sounds like it's going to be pretty convenient, actually.
So you can actually, if you have a connected device like a smartwatch, you could tell it to trust your phone and it will always be able to access it without a password.
Yeah, that's the idea. As long as the watch is there, and if the watch is not there, you put in your password as normal.
That's great. I like that.
Android One was announced. It's a program to design affordable hardware for partners to manufacture in developing markets. India's Carbon and Spice smartphone makers will be two of the first on board. A lot of people thought this was going to be Android Silver, which would replace the Nexus program, but that didn't happen. Instead, we got this more developing world-oriented program. Android Auto will be completely voice-enabled and contextually aware. The idea is to power everything through the phone, but provide a better display experience in Dash and the ability to use a steering wheel button along with your voice. 25 car manufacturers have promised to build Android Auto-powered cars, and the first cars are going to roll off lots by the end of this year, according to Google.
So is that like the Android Wear platform, where you just take the platform, you put it into your company, your device, and then you build on it from there? So we'll have all kinds of all different car companies running this Android car platform.
Yeah, it sounded, if it's implemented right, it sounds perfect, where the car companies put the platform in, but you don't have to get the right car. If you have an Android phone, it's just going to work with that. And the app makers just make their apps with a little bit of extra code to be able to be displayed on the car.
I wonder if they'd be able to build on it like the way a Kindle Fire is an Android-based platform, but then they build on top of that. I wonder if car makers will be able to kind of tinker with it that way.
Yeah, I hope they don't, actually. This is what I want, is like, just let me put my phone up there. Don't
make
try
it work.
Yeah, exactly. The Android Wear Development Kit is available today. Speaking of Android Wear, that means developers can make apps work with Android-powered wearables now, and 3 wearable devices were announced. The Samsung Gear Live, the LG G Watch are available for order today, and the Moto 360, which has a round face, is planned for release later this summer. The Gear Live runs $200 and ships beginning July 7th. So 3 watches coming from Android, and Samsung doing one with Android, not with Tizen.
Not with Tizen, yeah. Interesting going to Android.
Not even close to done. Actually, maybe like halfway done with the announcements from Google I/O. Android TV got some details as well. It's a software system, not a set-top box like Google TV was, for use in TVs and other devices. It can be controlled by mobile phone or tablet. It can act as a Chromecast, as you might expect, and it will run on a line of smart TVs from Sony, Sharp, and TP Vision and come to other set-top boxes later this year. So they've already got TV manufacturers going to build this version of Google's television system into televisions.
That will be interesting because all the TVs coming out here at the show, or the whole 4K, the whole Ultra HD smart TVs, really interesting to see how this comes into the mix.
Yeah, and having a good version, if this ends up being good, that can run on multiple platforms, I think is a much better strategy for Google.
Yep.
The Chromecast itself gets some new abilities soon. It'll get the ability to mirror your Android device's screen, so not even just a tab, but the entire screen. Accept streams from nearby devices, even if they're not on the same network. Now, it's opt-in, so you can control. You can't, go hijack your neighbor's Chromecast. And a new feature called Backdrop that puts up personal photos or information streams when the TV is not otherwise in use. Those are kind of, I don't know if I'm going to use the backdrop thing. I don't want to leave my TV on all the time, which is kind of what they're implying.
That's the push now, is to get everybody to use the smart devices that turn off your products when you're not using them, so you're not wasting energy.
Yeah, exactly. Chrome OS got some stage time as well with the announcement that Android apps can now run in an emulator on Chrome OS. That was a big announcement. It's probably not as big as it sounds because not every Android app is going to run. Chromebooks will also unlock themselves when your phone is around and then notify you of incoming calls and texts while you're paired.
I like this unlocking thing. I like being able to have safety and security, but knowing when it's okay to unlock your device. This is good.
There's going to be lots of chinks in that armor, a lot of people doing penetration testing, figuring out when it's exploitable and all of that. That's good. I hope they lock all that stuff down because I like this idea if you can make it secure. Google Drive made its presentation software Slides available for mobile. It was the one version that hadn't got a mobile app yet. They announced native support for Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. If you've been using Google Drive, you know if you upload a Word doc, you have to convert it to be able to edit it. Not anymore. You can now not only natively upload a Word doc, but you can also collaborate, same for Excel and PowerPoint. And Drive for Work gives unlimited storage now for $10 a month per user.
Wow. Interesting, really interesting competition going on in this cloud storage space.
Yeah, no, Google, this was a very interesting shot across the bow, which wasn't just we're cheaper, we're unlimited, essentially.
Unlimited is pretty enticing, I have to say.
And the Office compatibility is definitely a reaction to Office 365.
I'm not even going to tell you how many times I've had to copy a Word document and paste it into a Google Doc just to move it to my Drive. Yep, that's great.
Finally, Google got in the fitness tracking game with Google Fit. The platform aims to organize data from multiple apps, trackers, and sensors, very similar to what Apple announced with HealthKit. Google announced partnerships with Runkeeper, Basis, Adidas, and most interestingly, Nike. Now, that's not all. There were also announcements on enterprise management, some announcements around cloud services, around gaming, and right after the keynote, Google announced a new Gmail API to replace IMAP. But the most exciting thing you missed, Andrea, were two protesters, neither of which were complaining about the length of the keynote or the volume of announcements.
Did they skydive in?
No, they didn't. They just kind of popped up out of nowhere. The first was an elementary school teacher who complained of being evicted from his apartment by Google lawyer Jack Halprin, and we've heard about that before. The second just yelled, "You all work for a totalitarian company that builds robots that kill people." Obviously referring to buying the Boston Dynamics folks. So interesting that Google has turned into the target of protesters. And
I mean, I understand the first one, the whole thing about Google protesters and the buses and everything that's happening. There's a little bit of sympathy there for some people. I don't know about the robot totalitarian. I don't know.
It took me a minute, I was like, whoa, is that guy just nuts? Like, you're building Skynet? But, because that's what Kevin Toffel wrote on the GigaOM Live blog. But once I actually saw the quote, I'm like, oh, he's talking about Boston Dynamics. And Google has had a tough time convincing people that they're not going to continue military contracts. And until they actually shut them all down, they still have some. So.
Yeah, but so this was just one single protester. It wasn't like a busload of protesters came in.
No, in fact, they had protesters on the lawn in Mountain View that were removed by police. They were protesting in support of net neutrality, asking Google to make a stand for net neutrality the night before, but there weren't any outside beforehand, as far as I know.
Interesting.
We also got a Supreme Court decision regarding Aereo. GigaOM reports the U.S. Supreme Court ruled 6-3 that Aereo is a public performance. The service, which rented micro antennas to users to watch over-the-air broadcasts on the Internet, will now have to wind up its operations in all regions, as it does violate copyright, according to the U.S. Supreme Court. Justice Stephen Breyer wrote the opinion for the majority, arguing Aereo operated like a cable company and, quote, insofar as there are differences, those differences concern not the nature of the service that Aereo provides, so much as the technological manner in which it provides the service. Justice Antonin Scalia wrote a dissent, arguing that ignoring the technical aspect could mean other services could suffer what he called guilt by resemblance. Aereo CEO Chet Kanogia said the decision would cause a chilling effect, but the company would continue to fight. However, part owner Barry Diller told CNBC it's over now, and he called it a big loss for consumers. Thanks to Hurmoth for submitting this on the subreddit. So, not the people I expected to be on Aereo's side and against Aereo when you get right down to it.
Yeah, but it's interesting. I mean, they had just raised a lot of money. I believe they had just raised something like $100 million. So much support. I can't say I'm surprised at the decision, but I do think that a number of people really, really hoped that this was going to be the way to kind of get the whole rebroadcast thing really spelled out.
Yeah, and honestly, this decision is very problematic in lots of ways. It'll be interesting to see how it gets used, because Breyer's decision says it doesn't matter what technology they were using on the back end. It looked like a cable company, and therefore we're going to treat it like a cable company. And that's what Scalia went after. Antonin Scalia actually said in his dissent that he didn't believe that Aereo was legal, but he was not supposed to rule on other aspects, only on the public performance right. And he said Breyer was not right in calling this a public performance just because it looked like one. He's like, you have to consider those technological underpinnings.
Yep. And what is it? Guilt by associate? Guilt by...
Guilt by resemblance is what's
guilt by resemblance. Okay, so it really, I mean, we're here. There's so much innovation going on. So many people coming up with new ways to do things. And what does this mean for the innovation? I mean, if somebody comes up with something similar, do we keep testing that? Do we keep saying, what about this way? What about this way? I'm not really sure what that means for the future of all of these people who are coming up with amazing, innovative ideas.
Well, and that is really what a lot of folks are saying, out there is, yes, Justice Breyer tried to wall this off and say we're only ruling on broadcasting of video, we're only ruling on something that looks like a cable company, so this shouldn't have any effect on any other services out there. And Justice Scalia and a lot of other people have pointed out, well, that may be true, but this guilt by resemblance precedent could be applied to lots of other things. To say like, well, you may not be doing that on the back end, but it sure looks like you're distributing my copyrighted works, Dropbox, so yeah, I'm going to sue you.
Yeah. I mean, it has really large implications for many other things. It seems like there was a point at which, and I don't know that the broadcasters ever really looked at this and said, well, maybe we could play nice, maybe we should figure out how to do it. But it seems like it's going to be one of those things that again and again and again, people are going to try to hit and say, there's got to be a way we can figure out how to make this work legally.
Yeah. Or this is the death of over-the-air. Maybe this was the last gasp of over-the-air broadcasting, and everybody decides to just go straight to the internet because
that too.
That's another possibility.
Yep.
A few more headlines to get to. The Wall Street Journal reports Kaplan is buying Dev Bootcamp, a school that offers crash courses for software developers. Code schools, along with MOOCs, those are massive online open courses, are seen as an alternative to traditional four-year college degrees. And the school's leadership team and curriculum have been taking advantage of that. They're going to stay in place under Kaplan. Tuition will stay at $12,200 for the 9-week course. That will remain unchanged. As many on the subreddit noted, Google started offering $150 credits to Chrome Pixel owners whose Verizon service was cut off after 1 year, despite being promised 2 free years when they bought the Chrome Pixel. Now, TechCrunch reports Verizon says it was all a big misunderstanding. See, a very small number of Chromebook Pixel customers may have been hit by unforeseen problems, and Verizon will work with these customers to resolve the issue. So,
unforeseen problems?
Whether you believe that or not, at least they're doing the right thing.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. The Next Web reports Barnes & Noble will spin off its Nook business after all. The company has confirmed the board has authorized the separation of retail and Nook media businesses. Why? Well, in order to optimize shareholder value, of course.
Okay.
They've been rumored to be doing that for a couple of years, and then they finally convinced the board, is essentially what happened there. The Next Web reports Facebook's messaging app Slingshot is now available worldwide for Android and iOS. The app lets you send non-permanent photo and video messages to friends. The catch is that you can't see what a friend sent you until you send them something back. But now you can do that with friends all around the world. Time for some news from you. These are things submitted to our subreddit, dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. Get in there and submit some stuff. Vote some stuff up and down, like gewbert did. He posted the MSNBC story about another U.S. Supreme Court decision. In this one, the justices were unanimous, ruled 9-0 that police need a warrant to search the cell phone of a person who has been arrested, in most circumstances anyway. Chief Justice John Roberts wrote, quote, "The fact that technology now allows an individual to carry such information in his hand does not make the information any less worthy of protection for which the founders fought. Exigent circumstances like imminent danger to life or evidence destruction might still justify searching a phone, as they do in other cases without a warrant, but for the most part, your phone is protected."
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. A surprisingly different kind of decision out of the Supreme Court today. Metalfreak posted the unsurprising ZDNet story that Linux continues to dominate supercomputers. According to the latest rankings from the top 500 group, 97% of the world's fastest supercomputers run Linux. The growth rate in performance is slowing, though. From 1994 to 2008, annual performance growth in supercomputers was 90%. Lately, annual performance growth has been only 55%. But Intel's working on that, they say. And Captain Kipper posted the EE press release that the UK telecom company will bring what they call 4G Wi-Fi to the Glastonbury Festival. That's the big music festival happening. They're going to place transmitters inside fiberglass cows modeled on the Worthy Farms dairy cows and painted by Glastonbury bin artist Hank and team. So if you want good reception, move towards the fiberglass cow at Glastonbury.
It will be utterly amazing.
Yay! Points. Andrew.
Wow.
All right, that's a look at the headlines. Real quickly, don't forget, folks, if you want to listen to the show live, you can do so at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 1:30 p.m. Pacific on alphageekradio.com. Go to mobile.alphageekradio and check it out. Alpha Geek is run by Todd Whitehead. He does an amazing job. He is a prince among men in making this happen for lots of folks out there, and you can support his Patreon at patreon.com/alphageek. I support it. I hope you'll consider doing so too. And keep all of these great podcasts from all different kinds of podcasters streaming live over alphageekradio.com. All right, let's talk CE Week, Andrea. Where do we start? 3D printers, wearable fashion? What do you got?
So much stuff. 3D printers, wearable fashion, connected home. Everybody's got something to show. Where do we start? I'll start with wearable fashion because I think it's kind of cool. You know, first of all, wearable technology. I mean, as we know, CES, it was all about wearable technology, fitness gadgets. One really cool thing today from the company Withings, which I always said Withings, but I now understand it's a very French-pronounced Withings.
Now I know that too. Good.
Well, they came out with a really nice smartwatch. You know, really like the Moto 360 that everyone liked when we first started seeing the Android Wear videos. It's got a beautiful leather strap. It's got a round face. It's got an analog face. It's all high-tech tracking. It works with your phone, and it's very pretty. I would actually wear it.
That's great, and I think this is going to be make or break year for smartwatches, right? We've got 3 announced today at Google I/O. We've got the Withings watch announced today with that circular face. So it's like, hey, nobody has a monopoly on shapes now. It's all about what these things can actually do. Do people really want them?
Right, and it really is about 3 months after you've purchased it. Are you still using it? Because, you know, for so many people, it's just sitting in a drawer like, I'm done. The ones that clip on, the 1 year with the heart rate. I've learned that people really do want to know their heart rate. I don't know what they do with it, and I would really like some of this wearable technology to tell me what it means. So there's actually one shirt here I saw. It's by a company called Hexoskin. and it's like a gym shirt, and it's got sensors built in, and it will give you your heart rate. You don't need that chest strap around you. But they're kind of trying to make software that tells you, okay, you're in your zone, you're beyond your zone, you need to cool down, but a way for you to not just have that, quote unquote quantified self, but to get a sense of how you can control it and to what you need to know to change it.
Yeah, like a lot of gym machines do that. They'll ask you for your weight and your age and say, okay, your heart rate's getting too fast. Let's slow you down.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of cool to have clothing that's going to do that for you, or may automatically adjust for you, which would be cool. So that's interesting. And then wearable fashion, which I'm just loving this year. There's beautiful blouses and dresses embedded with LED sensors that literally react to the environment around the person. So say somebody's just walking down the street and the wind is blowing, the wind will create kind of like a ripple effect, and then the LED lights all go off. Or it reacts to, like, let's say, I don't know, Lady Gaga wears it at a concert. It reacts to the intensity of the sound around you.
That'd be a VU meter, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
So these things are cool, and they're very fun to watch. I'll be honest, in conference situations. Do you think people are going to buy them?
No, but I don't. But I think what's really fascinating is the way that the fashion industry is incorporating technology into what it's doing. And I think that eventually, in a couple of years, we will have things like there was a jacket that literally it reads the GPS off your phone, and if you need to turn left, there's haptic feedback built into the shoulder that says, okay, now you're going to turn left, and there's LED lights on the sleeve that tell you when. Would you wear it? Would I wear it? Not so much. But maybe a visually impaired person might wear it, or a hearing impaired person might need sort of sensory feedback as opposed to just looking at a phone.
Or certain professions I could see benefiting from some kind of feedback that way, too.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that in the end, it may not be about you and me and the average consumer. I think it hopefully will be more about how can we really use this to create good and to help people who may need some assistance in their daily lives.
Now, I know you were mentioning that the keynote today was kicked off by Jimmy, the 3D printed robot, and 3D printing, one of those trends right up there with wearables in people trying different things and developing new products.
Yeah, absolutely. So we had Intel's futurist here, Brian David Johnson, and he had Jimmy, the 21st century robot, and he's a 3D printed robot. He's about knee high, and he's awesome. He's programmed, he talks, and they have a developer kit so that people can start creating their own Jimmy the robot. But Intel's got some cool things. I mean, they're in the wearables. They're talking about wearables. They're talking about the maker community that we're seeing coming out of 3D printing. We have MakerBot and Shapeways, and people are starting to print their own things. People are starting to realize, okay, maybe a mouse or a cell phone case or something, but, they're learning that this is something that they can do. And what I think is fascinating is a lot of kids are doing this. A lot of kids are kind of picking it up as second nature and creating things.
Yeah, real life Minecraft, like create the blocks.
Exactly.
Make the things. Yeah. Love that.
Yeah.
Now we heard about Google's Android car, but there's got to be some connected car stuff going on at CE Week as well.
Yeah, there was a ton of connected car stuff. There was a lot of information about what's coming into the car, and driver safety, of course. And it's clear to me that everybody here who's working so hard and so fast to put all this innovation and the Internet of Things into your car is also concerned about driver safety. I'm convinced that we all just need driverless cars so that we're all going to sit there doing what we do, texting, emailing, watching movies. We just need cars to drive for us. But the conversation is taking place. The discussion is there about what can we put in and how can we make it really easy for the end user to not be distracted by this, and also to build in high-tech safety equipment, so that if you don't see something coming up ahead, your car will.
Now, last thing, I know this hasn't happened yet. You're headed off to this tomorrow, I think, the 3D prosthetics?
Yeah, well, as part of the digital health panel, this is the coolest story. Digital health, we talk about wearable and fitness trackers and all of the things that we're using technology to really help people be more aware of their health. But there's a gentleman coming to do our keynote and be part of this. His name's David Petrino, and he works with Project Daniel. And what they do is they create 3D printed prosthetic limbs. I think they're working primarily in Afghanistan right now, but they're just creating these limbs so that people who maybe couldn't afford it or didn't have the wherewithal to have access. It's just a project that is really using technology and 3D printing to really do good and to make an impact. So very cool stuff there.
CE Week continues tomorrow, June 26th, in New York City. You can check out all the stuff going on there at ceweekny.com. Andrea's been spearheading the video coverage, so go take advantage of it. ceweekny.com for all the latest news and video on consumer technology. Also on the calendar tomorrow, it's IPO day for the GoPro. I can't buy stock, but maybe you can, so go check it out. Let's go check our pick of the day. Henrik from Bergen, Norway has some advice and a pick of the day. He says, look, if a VPN has a data cap, that means it's somehow storing some of the things you are doing. It has to be able to track that you are using the data. So if you're wanting a VPN for privacy reasons, I would use one that claims not to log anything. And he suggests an alternative called privateinternetaccess.com. Both Torrent Freak and Lifehacker recommend this one. $3.33 per month if you take a yearly subscription. They have lots of payment methods, including Bitcoin. And Henrik says, I've used them for 2 years now. I'm pretty happy with them. With the Netherlands and Sweden servers, I pretty much have the same speed as with no VPN, 25 megabits per second. US servers are a little slower for me at around 3 to 15 megabits per second. But I live in lovely Bergen, Norway, so that's a long way away. They even let you choose how good encryption you want if you use their OpenVPN clients. And you can check them out at privateinternetaccess.com and take a look at it. Thanks for the pick, Henrik. That's a good one. I'm going to check that one out myself. dailytechnewsshow.com/picks for more. All right, Andrea, do you use VPN? Do you have a preferred client? No.
No, not really.
Worth checking these out, especially for things like hotel Wi-Fi. I never trust that stuff.
Yes, that's exactly.
All right, we got one message of the day before we get out of here. We were talking yesterday about how Pebble, speaking of wearables, Pebble and the Misfit tracker are getting together so that the Misfit software can run on the Pebble and do the tracking that the Misfit Shine would do. And we got this response from David McDonald.
Hi, Tom. It's Dave in Orlando. I was really happy to hear you talk about the creators of the Misfit Shine activity tracker publishing an app for Pebble. For over a year now, I've been wearing a Pebble on my left wrist and a Fitbit Flex on my right. Kind of the geeky quantified self belt and suspenders approach, I guess. But the two of them together have been a big part of some major weight loss for me. I've lost about 250 pounds. There's really nothing that Fitbit does that can't be accomplished by software on my Pebble. I think your PDA smartphone analogy was spot on. Activity tracking isn't a product, it's a feature. I've installed the Misfit app on my Pebble, and I'll be wearing it side by side with my Fitbit for a few days to compare step counts. The biggest thing I would lose in ditching Fitbit is the social side of their platform. I have 4 or 5 family members around the country who are all connected on Fitbit. I really hope that someday all this data can be unified in some way so that I can use whatever tracker works the best for me and still be connected with other people I care about using whatever apps or devices work best for them. Thanks for the show.
That is a really good thought about that. I mean, the idea of needing that social community, especially, I mean, congratulations on losing all that weight. That's insane. That's definitely important, don't you think, Andrea, to have that community?
That is so awesome. That is so awesome. And, I hear stories like that about because people are using that shared community. I personally never share my information from my Fitbit or my Jawbone or any of my trackers. But, to have that motivation and to have the community around to support you, wow, that's great. Congratulations to you. One thing I want to mention, though, and I do this also when I'm testing trackers, sometimes I'll put one on one arm and one on the other, and you are going to get a discrepancy in steps. I mean, they're never going to be identical. They're really not, because they measure kind of different things, and accelerometers are different. So I don't know that would make me choose one over the other if the steps weren't identical. But, yeah, to be able to take what's in the Fitbit and put it into that Pebble, and have all that functionality. It's like the perfect device.
Yeah, no brainer. And one of the advantages I think Pebble may have in this race is that they've been out there on wrists for a while, so they can do some more things like, I think we could pull this off, and I think our users are telling me they want this, and they have users to base that on.
Yeah, and I've seen, I have to say, of all the smart watches that we talk about on the show, the Pebble is the one that I see most in the wild. And I'm not just talking geeks at a tech show, but I mean real people. The Pebble is the one. And so to incorporate, and I love the Misfit Shine, so to take that software and add it in, I think, that's very enticing.
Yeah, it is. And I'm way with David on the ability to just like share your data across no matter what platform you're using. Because I use Runkeeper and Nike Plus when I run, because I have different friends on different platforms, and I'm like, okay, well, I want to track it in both places, because maybe I'll give up one of them someday, but I want to have all the history there.
That's right. You want to have all your history, exactly.
Yeah. My problem is, even though I share the running information, I forget that, and I never look at anyone else's. So I had a friend in town this week, and he's like, yeah, you're pretty consistent with your running. I'm like, how do you know that? He's like, we're friends on Nike Plus. I'm like, oh. He's like, what, you never notice that I run, do you? I'm like, sorry.
Because you don't. Well, is it because you don't physically go to look? Because I mean, a lot of people share it on Facebook.
Yeah.
So
I don't post it. I only share it in the app. Yeah, but I guess he's constantly looking at the leaderboard to.
That's so a little competitive, maybe. I don't know.
No, it's good. I need the push.
Yeah.
I like it.
Well, it keeps you motivated.
Exactly. That's the whole thing, right? You want that community push.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, David, for that call. You just sent that on MP3, by the way, folks. If you're feeling like doing the same thing, you can. Just send it to feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. Well, Andrea, this was a pleasure. Thank you for taking the time of what I know is a very busy time for you to talk with us today. I really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Always fun to join you, and thank you for catching me up on everything on Google I/O.
My pleasure. That's what I do. Twitter.com/Andrea Smith if you want to follow more of what Andrea does, and it's totally worth it. And, of course, ceweekny.com to keep up on what's going on out there. Anything else before we let you go?
Oh, I'm off to the high-tech fashion show, so we'll see what kind of fabulous wearables are there.
Excellent. Tell them hello for me or something, or whatever you do at fashion shows. Don't forget, folks, we have a Patreon to support the show. 4,154 of you have found it in your hearts to say, you know what, I get a little value from this. I'm going to give a little value back, and we deeply, deeply appreciate it. It's what keeps us going. bit.ly/helpdtns if you'd like to know more about that. Don't forget, our subreddit. You can have a voice in what stories we cover. Go do it. dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. Email us, feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. Our phone number, if you don't want to do the MP3 thing, is 512-59-DAILY. That's 512-593-2459. And you can listen to the show live, as I mentioned, mobile.alphageekradio.com, 4:30 p.m. Pacific, 1:30 p.m. I'm sorry, 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 p.m. Pacific, and our website's dailytechnewsshow.com. Brian Brushwood and a wrap-up of CE Week tomorrow. See you then.
For more information about this and other shows, visit frogpants.com. Audio program so good, it's like you're there.
Yay!
Hey, thank you so much, Andrea. That was great.
Oh, my pleasure. I hope it wasn't too noisy behind me. But
it was fine. We love the sound of live.
No, it was good nat sound. Exactly.
Good. Thank you so much. It was fun.
Real quick, before you jump up, will you just send me the email of the person that we might have on the show tomorrow, and I will reach out?
Yes, Avram Pilch, and he's doing our augmented reality panel, so he's probably going to. Yeah, he'll be fun, and he's very good. So I will do that right this second.
Thank you so
Andrea,
much.
thank you so much. Thanks for everything.
No problem. Thank you. Thanks for having us on, and Jeremy, and we'll do it again.
We're having fun.
Sounds good.
We're having fun. All right, thanks, guys.
Enjoy the fashion show.
Thanks.
All right, I'm gonna edit the show like I always do.
Being edited. Jack,
we got any good titles yet?
Oh yeah, we got MooFi.
MooFi.
Another title would be Google Watches, cloud, cars. And then Silverblade has...
And then ...
Dot.
Ugh, my God. How much are you going to announce in one day, Google?
I know, boy. That was amazing that got done by 2:01.
Yeah. No, you know what? I think it. I don't want to say it helped that she hadn't seen I/O, but it certainly reduced the time spent because there was more of the like, oh, that's interesting, like getting reactions. I thought that was fun actually. I like that.
Yeah. No, that was really that was good. That was full of good product-y stuff.
Yeah, I wish we had pictures of all the stuff she was talking about. I wanted to see that.
In a calmer environment, we could have had her screen share, but it was not that kind of an environment.
Yeah.
You could tell. It's all right. That's what CEweek.com is for.
Well, I tried to set the scene like, hey, you're going to get a little more background noise, folks. So I don't think I'd ever made it so you couldn't hear her. I could hear her just fine.
Yeah, no, it was fine. I boosted you just a little midway through just to give you a little help because you were at your normal level that's perfect for a controlled environment. But you just need a little boost.
And Levelator will take care of it in the audio version. So
I think it'll be fine.
Good.
Besides, it's always good to have people on from somewhere.
Yeah, I like that. Gives you a sense of being reality based.
It's New York. It's loud.
Exactly. It's New York over here.
Hey, we're making sandwiches over here.
I'm podcasting here.
I'm podcasting.
That's what Andrea should do. She should just turn around and like, shut up, I'm podcasting.
Yeah. It's awesome.
What are you, born in a barn? Mufi?
Mufi. I like Mufi.
Watches versus Killer Robots is pretty good, too.
That's pretty good. Eviction versus
Eviction to Killer Robots would be dead on.
Evict all the robots? Not really on point.
No, not so much, but it's funny.
Watch all the evicted robots in the cloud. Just try to cram them all together.
I don't want to minimize the poor evicted guy either. I worry about that. The military robot guy's a little off the hook.
Yeah. We all know that's not coming true till at least 2064 on the delayed Terminator timeline.
If you've seen the leaked roadmaps from the secret Project X world domination, you know we don't have to worry about that yet.
Decades away. Decades.
Yeah. Sergey and Larry have yet to move to their moon complex before that starts to get implemented.
I think Google will remain not totally evil until they do depart the planet Earth.
My theory on Google is that they still think, first of all, a company that big is not a they, it's an it, as grammar dictates. But Larry and Sergey, I believe, still think that they're not evil. They have rationalized every decision they've ever made, which is you are always the hero of your own story, and they still think they are. It's very difficult when you get that much influence and power and wealth to have a check and balance on you, I would imagine, not having ever been that rich or wealthy or powerful. But it seems from observation that it's really hard to stay, in reality and have somebody checking you like, well, wait a minute, are you sure it's okay to do that? Well, we're never going to do anything bad with it, so of course it's fine.
You have just described the creative process for the Phantom Menace. To a T, quite literally. That was it.
Yep. Nobody there to say, are you sure about Jar Jar?
Yeah. George. Come on, George.
He's great. See, by the way? Kids are going to love him.
Kids are going to love it. It's a movie for kids.
He doesn't talk that way at all.
I know. Sorry, George.
He's great. Kids are going to love him.
Did you see where the Star Wars Museum ended up?
Chicago? Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Actually, George is pretty hilarious when he deals with the semi-corrupt governments of the Bay Area.
Yes.
He also
decide, I'll go somewhere else.
Yeah, because there's the famous story when I was living in Marin County of him selling land that they wouldn't let him develop for his business, selling the land with the stipulation that it had to be used for low-income housing. I was like, that's brilliant. Yeah. I loved that.
He's got all the right. He's got that wonderful independent filmmaker mentality that he and Coppola and I'm blanking on the third guy who's brilliant.
Spielberg?
No, well, Yes, but a little bit like more the 70s ones. So like
Marty?
A little more Marty. A little
Marty
more Marty.
Scorsese?
Yeah. And so he's got this great attitude. It's just like maybe he should always write with a partner.
Don't go into... I'm going to go with MooFi, by the way.
Yeah, I think that's... Hey, Jax, could you just chill, please? The dog is on the warpath.
My dog's going to be on the warpath, too. Django has to go to the vet.
Oh.
She's got a growth on her paw, though.
Oh,
so
no.
I'm actually less worried than I was when I thought she had just strained a third leg because she has bad tendons in both her knees, and then she was limping. We thought because she'd strained something, and we're like, and it wasn't going away. Once we found the thing on her paw, I'm like, well, that's why she's limping. Okay, good. And that's hopefully something benign and removable and everything like that. Yeah.
That's a good dog.
Oh, Jangs. Yeah, she's outlived her life expectancy for a Rottweiler, so you know, I'm not trying to be morbid, but every day is a blessing, Jenny.
Every day is a blessing. That's funny. Tinvec. Yes. Yeah, I didn't name the dog. The dog came pre-named. My dog.
Oh, Jax.
Jax was pre-named, and Tinvec totally nailed that it was from Mortal Kombat.
Oh, it is from Mortal Kombat.
It absolutely is. I had nothing to do with it.
So whoever named the dog named it after Mortal Kombat.
Yep. Does he have metal arms? Sometimes.
You can't hug a dog with nuclear arms.
No.
Metal claws.
Yeah. The dog has a habit of sleeping above my head sometimes when I take my daily.
You've mentioned this before, I think.
Right,
yeah.
and then he just launches off and uses like my face for a, suction, for lack of a better word. Or what's the word I'm looking for? Boost, trajectory.
Trajectory?
Trajectory, power.
Well, Jax, when he reaches that level of power, doesn't have anyone to give him checks and balances.
I know, that's true, because I'm a sucker.
Yeah. Thank you, Beatmaster.
Yes.
I am, the links.
By the way, super excited about how all of the badge ribbons turned out. Okay,
I have one question.
Yes.
What color is the FSL Tonight one?
So it's sort of like aqua.
Okay, good.
With blue.
Because it looked green in the picture.
Yeah, no.
But it wasn't so green. I was like, that's just okay.
Yeah, it's a nice shade of aqua with blue. I wanted the like in the picture of the color, the aqua was more like fluorescently brilliant. So it didn't quite come out, but it's fine.
That's fine. No, blue is totally fine.
Yeah. And then the Cord Killers one came out so awesome.
Nice. Well, we have those. We have the sword and laser ones, and we have merit badges.
Do we really? I like how I just finished doing the badge ribbons, and it was like, can we have badges now? I was like, come on.
I have badges.
Do you really?
Well, yes.
Right.
I'll show you after we turn the video off.
All right.
See. But yeah.
Teased
him on TMS this morning.
Nice. I'm trying to think of what else.
I feel like I may have shown them to you before. I don't know. All right, here we go.
Oh, we're giving away these little badge ribbons, right?
Oh yeah. No, usually the thing is you make somebody do something, but you don't charge them money. Okay. And it could be silly things.
Could you do something that involves giving me $1?
I'm going to make you do something to get the ribbon. Give me $1.
If you give me $1, you won't have to do something.
Yeah, you give them the option. You can do something, or you can give me $1.
All right.
No, it's usually like, tell me how much you love my show, or...
Right.
I mean, that's silly, but that's...
All right. Just wanted to know whether I should bring a fishbowl for donations.
Well, I mean, you can.
No, I'm not going to.
Nothing's stopping you from just doing that anyway.
No, that would be crass. We are nothing if not polite about how we beg for money.
That's right. We beg so politely.
So politely.
Ooh, and I'll have DTNS stickers, says Seb Guns. I just saw that.
That's so awesome. Show Jenny J23 the money.
Excellent. Yeah, I did a podcast this morning with Brecky. We both realized, we're like, this was a horrible day to schedule this because of Google I/O, but it was fine. It was we kept it fairly short, but it was really fun talking to him.
Yeah, Brecky's. I was going to re-invite him back on the
please do.
show, but then I didn't know if we should wait until that thing that we're planning for September.
Well, I mean, we can do both.
That's true. There's a lot of time until September.
We've got time.
Got a whole year left.
We've got the rest of our lives.
That's right.
Because nothing will ever change.
Nope.
I'm certain of it.
Nope.
Never does.
Hey,
I've always been doing this show. We've always been at war with East Asia.
Yeah, we always will be. Well, you know what they say about starting a land war in Asia.
What is it? What is the line?
Oh, shoot. Now I forget it. I only
Never start a land war in Asia,
yeah.
But almost as... And I can't remember how it goes after that. Almost as well known. Is never try to fool.
Yeah. What is it? What is he? Oh, I need to watch Princess Bride again. I'm failing.
I know.
I just saw the end recently, but I haven't seen the Wallace Shawn part in a long time. Wait, I have a question.
Yes.
What does one eat at Nerdtacular? Is there food?
Oh yeah. Yes.
Starve?
There are several restaurants because it's a big resort.
Right.
So there's a Mexican restaurant, really convenient. Then there's like kind of a regular restaurant, American restaurant. Then there's a restaurant at the very top where you can see the mountain really nicely and it's a little fancier. Then there's like other buildings that have their own restaurants that I actually never made it to. Right. Last year, of course, they had the landslides.
Right.
So that kind of threw off the restaurant thing for a day, but hopefully that won't happen this time.
Okay. So I don't need to bring like a weird horde of like...
No. I mean, unless you just want to save money or have things you like or have dietary restrictions or whatever, yeah. But no, there's plenty of restaurants to...
All right. So I should not worry.
Nope, I wouldn't worry.
All right. Now, at what point will you be
fallen for one of the classic blunders? Thank you, TVZ Gone.
Thank you. At what point will you be going on the Alpine slide?
I don't know. I didn't go on the Alpine slide last year, but I did run. I did go jogging up into the mountainside, which kind of is the same thing on the way back.
Yeah, I guess so. Except for the part where on the Alpine slide you ride in a little cart, and it looks really fun.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the thing. I'll make someone go with me on the Alpine slide to get a ribbon.
There you go. Yeah, definitely. If someone goes with you on the Alpine slide, they get a
ribbon. Yeah. All right. That's a fair ribbon.
I am out of the post.
All right. I think I might have lost everything I put in my test post, so that should be awesome.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so let's see what happens.
Well, I'm going to stop the broadcast so they don't see you cry.
All right.